Pascagoula is one of Mississippi's largest cities. It's locally known for its rivers because of the odd humming sounds that can be heard in the area. On quiet nights, it was said that you could hear the Indian tribe singing their death chant on the rivers of Pascagoula. In October of 1973, an alleged UFO sighting in the river put the quiet city of Pascagoula under wide media coverage. The incident made international headlines and is still being discussed decades later. This is what happened in the Pascagoula alien abduction case. On the evening of October 11 in 1973, co-workers Charles Hickson and Calvin Parker decided to go fishing off a pier on the west bank of the Pascagoula River. Hickson had earlier helped Calvin secure a position at Hickson, Walker & Sons shipyard. It was Calvin's first day, and after work, at around 6 o'clock in the evening, they decided to walk out on the pier of the old abandoned shipyard and cast out their fishing lines. The men tried to fish in one location, but the swarming bugs forced them to return to the shipyard, which had fewer lights that attracted insects. While fishing, Calvin's attention was caught by a blue light reflecting in the water. They initially thought a police car was coming to tell them to leave the property. What they thought was immediately proven wrong. A blinding light came out of the clouds. They heard a hissing sound, and when they looked up, they saw a floating oval-shaped object that looked like a steel football. It was about 30 to 40 feet across and about 8 to 10 feet high. From that craft emerged three beings. Each entity stood approximately 5 feet tall with no neck, only slits for eyes and mouth, as well as nose and ears that were highly pointed. They had wrinkled grey skin, clawed hands, and a foot-like appendage without toes. These entities were moving in a gliding motion. Calvin recalled being horrified when one of the creatures wrapped one of its claws around his arm, but after that, a different feeling overcame him. A feeling of calm and numbness came over him, and he assumed that he was injected with something. They were led aboard the ship, down a corridor, and into a room where they were just floating. There were no seats, tables, or chains, but they were being moved around, floating in the air. They were paralysed but still conscious of what was happening. As they were laying down, Charles saw what he can only describe as a machine with a big eye. It moved and circled around him, making a series of clicking noises. It seemed to be examining and documenting him. After a while, a smaller being entered the room. Calvin described the creature as human-like with its features, except for its middle fingers, which were longer than what the average person has. Parker recalled the creature talking to him telepathically in a female voice, saying they are not going to harm them. Charles and Calvin could not remember how they left the craft, but they were returned to the bank of the river completely unharmed, and then the vessel took off. Charles and Calvin initially agreed that they would never tell anyone what happened to them. I mean, who would even believe them? The men returned to the car, shaken and in fear, to find the passenger door window shattered but still in place within the frame. The glass fell out as they opened the door. Parker stated that the car, which was fairly new and had never previously failed to start, failed numerous times until it eventually started. But the engine did sound rough. On the way home, Hickson changed his mind. Despite Parker's protests, he believed they needed to tell someone about what happened to them. When Hickson called Keesler Air Force Base in Biloxi, they informed him that they no longer handled UFO claims because Project Blue Book was complete, and they advised him to contact local authorities instead. From March 1952 through to December 17 in 1969, Project Blue Book was the code name for the United States Air Force's systematic examination of unidentified flying objects. The men then contacted the Jackson County Sheriff's Office. They were individually questioned about their experiences. After that, they were placed in a room together and were secretly recorded. Hickson even passed a lie detector test, prepared by the agent, with whom the men had agreed to promote their story. But the sheriff's department only agreed that they were telling the truth because of a hidden recorder that they left in the room after interviewing the two men. The two can be heard talking about fear, sleeplessness, and the urge to consult a doctor. And at times, it was almost as if they were speaking to themselves.
Something like that is scary, you slowing down the path, you know? Jesus Christ. You hear about something like that, but you can't believe it. Yeah, you hear about it. I know. There ain't something the United States can have up there. No, I'm sure they ain't. This shit, I'm not getting a heart attack, and I ain't shit. No, I know. I come one down and I'm not scared of any death, too, son. I'm just standing there crying right now. I can't tell you. I'm so damn bad about it, nobody's leave. That's what I'm saying. I had been through enough of hell on this earth, and now I have to go do something like this. Why they just take that? I don't know. I just tell you, I got you come get to bed and get some nurse pills or something, see the doctor or something. I can't stand it. I'm after all the pain.
I'll take you by the, when they get through this, we'll go by the prayer. I'll get you something, settle you down, so you get some damn sleep.
I keep sleeping out like it is. I was damn near crazy.
But yeah, when he brought you out of that damn thing, and when he brought me out, well, I like to know where the hell you know. God damn, I like to know where the hell got you straightened out, man.
When they launched, I remember my heart, they just froze out just like that. I couldn't move it, just like a step on a damn rattlesnake.
They didn't do me that way, though. Oh, Lord, have mercy. I've never seen them like that before in my life. Just how you can't make people believe that, though.
I don't know if you're going to believe it or not, because I
They better wake up and start believing.
damn
They
right.
better wake up and start believing.
Damn right.
Listen, I seen on the police.
I can't figure out the damn door. You see how that door come around on that side of the
Yeah, I don't know how to open something. I don't know.
I didn't see no door swing open.
I don't know how to open. I don't know how to open.
Shit on it. All right,
You see something,
and look around, them damn blue lights in them some bitches are just like that, they come out.
yeah, no, you can't believe it. You can't make people believe it.
I paralyzed right there, I couldn't move.
They won't believe it on these days. They won't believe it on these days. Might be too late.
36 hours after the incident, Dr. Alan Hynek, a scientific advisor for 3 major UFO studies in the US, arrived in Pascagoula to interview the men. Before leaving the next day, Hynek informed the reporters that Charles and Calvin's encounter was absolutely honest and that they have had a fantastic experience. Aside from the polygraph test, they've done hypnosis sessions, sobriety tests, and voice stress tests. The incident gained a lot of believers, but there were also a lot of people who were questioning Charles and Calvin's statements. Famous UFO skeptic Philip Klass pointed out inconsistencies in Hickson's account. For example, referring to the beings as having a hole for a mouth but later referring to it as a slit. Philip Klass further stated that the lie detector test was done by an inexperienced polygraph operator, and Charles declined to take another administered by an expert police examiner. Charles Hickson's behaviour was questionable, according to investigator Joe Nickel, and Charles later changed his claims. Additionally, Hickson had a history of not being credible. He was once fired from his job for obtaining money from the employees under his supervision. Joe Nickel speculated that Charles Hickson may have fantasized about the alien encounter while in a hypnagogic hallucination, and that Calvin Parker's corroboration of the story was likely due to suggestibility because he initially told police that he had passed out at the beginning of the incident and failed to regain consciousness until it was over. Although the UFO claimed by the men was reportedly not observed by anyone on the highly frequented local highway, there had been previous UFO sightings in the region on the night in question. In the weeks leading up to the October 11 incident, more than a dozen witnesses came forward with their own tales of UFO sightings on or near the Pascagoula River in Jackson County. While working that night, one worker reported seeing a massive ship floating down the river from the cab of his crane. As a couple drove over a bridge, they reported seeing a large craft with a blue light flying low over the river. A man visiting his aunt reported the same thing. Another couple reported that they were waiting for a boat on the opposite bank when they noticed blue lights across the river and a grey creature in the water. The UFOs were characterised differently. Some saw a helicopter-like device, while another reported a supposed experiment from an Air Force base. According to Philip Mantle, a researcher who has been investigating UFOs for over 40 years, Charles and Calvin's cases are the most extraordinary. Parker had dreams of being a preacher, but after the incident, his credibility was questioned, and with the swarm of reporters following him and his family around, they needed to move from place to place quite frequently. Calvin Parker even changed his name to Randy to avoid being detected by reporters. He suffered severe nervous breakdowns, was constantly being hospitalised, and had a brief divorce from his wife before being remarried again. Charles Hickson, on the other hand, did numerous interviews and made numerous high-profile media appearances. In 1983, Hickson wrote a book about the UFO encounter. In 2011, he died at the age of 80. During his retirement, after decades of avoiding the topic, Calvin Parker finally found peace and acceptance in the traumatic experience and decided to continue their story, releasing a book in 2018 and 2019. Both books were a success. In June of that year, Pascagoula unveiled a historical marker near the supposed abduction site. The end of the plaque reads, "It remains the best documented case of alien abduction, particularly since there is a secret tape involved, and not one, but two witnesses. And whether you believe in UFOs or not, the Pascagoula abduction case became one of the most famous cases of extraterrestrials in the world. Thank you so much for hanging out and watching today. My name is James, and this is the restricted section. If you enjoyed this, please like, subscribe, comment, and share this video to help with the algorithm. If there are any topics you would like to see in future videos, please put them down below in the comments. Thanks again, and see you on the next one.